Hi, I'm Joe Keenan, Executive Editor of Retail Online Integration. I'm joined today by Pini Yakuel, who is the co-founder and CEO of Optimove, a customer retention automation platform. Pini is going to discuss marketing automation and how customers are using it in their, retailers are using it in their customer retention efforts. So thanks for joining me, Pini.
Thanks for having me, Joe. It's great to be in this podcast with you.
So we'll jump right into the questions. My first question is, can you discuss some of the top ways that online retailers are using marketing automation technology?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that essentially in this evolution of marketing automation, what we see a few trends. So the first is the automation piece. So that means that retailers are able to create this type of an agile marketing. That means that the cycle to create a campaign or a marketing endeavor, some kind of a personal communication with your customer, that cycle is very short today. So that means that you can leverage technology to build campaigns within minutes or hours instead of things that used to take weeks. So that makes the marketing department way more agile, and as a result, they can learn faster, they can tweak things, adapt, change. So this is one thing that makes them. This is one of the top ways. Another top way is obviously to use predictive science. So essentially not guessing who's your segments, who's your customers, using predictive analytics to identify interesting clusters of customers, predict customer behavior so you can surprise your customers and anticipate what they want and what they need and surprise them. So not only that you're automatic, you're also very scientific and smart with your communications, and as a result, your customers get the feel or the sensation that there's an intelligent entity behind that communication. So the brand actually becomes like this, I would say, even emotionally intelligent entity. And I think the best retailers are definitely doing that. And last but not least, it's multi-channel. So they can speak. Let's say if we use an analogy of a person, imagine that somebody can speak a few languages. So I can speak French to a French person and English to a person from the UK or from the US. And in the same way, when you use many channels, you can find somebody who's on Facebook a lot with Facebook advertisement. You can find somebody in email, text, push, all on the site, all of these channels, and you can orchestrate them together to reinforce a specific message.
With data sort of being the engine that drives marketing automation, can you talk about some of the mistakes that you're seeing around data that retailers are making?
Yeah, so I think with data, there's some basic core, laws of physics that you need to understand, and when people don't understand it, it creates mistakes. I think first is very basic, the quality of data, the cleanliness of data. You still find many companies that in the very core of the processes that create and generate the data, it's sometimes not of a sufficient quality, and in that sense, people will rely on just like we say, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So they're going to rely on data which is not true, and will lead them to false conclusions or conclusions which are near reality. The second thing is I think that sometimes people get too obsessed with data, and you have this phenomena of analysis paralysis. You overanalyze everything. You expect to see immediate results with every marketing campaign that you're doing, and you're missing the bigger picture of branding, and you've become very myopic, and this is also a problem, in my opinion, with data. Another thing I would say is that when people average a lot of things, so averages are pretty dangerous because, again, you can miss a lot of things. So I find that the best data scientists are the ones that are always, constantly drilling in more and more and more to actually find the true revelation inside the data.
You talked a little bit in the answer to your first question about the shopping experience and providing the best possible experience for your customers. Can you talk about how you can retailers can use marketing automation and technology to provide a better experience for their customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it goes back to the relevancy and personalization. So if a customer receives a relevant message and something that actually solves their problem, something that meets their need, because we can predict that, we can leverage historical data about the customer to cater to the customer and better service the customer, then marketing automation in that sense becomes powerful in the customer experience. So things that you're not able to do before, or only very, very big companies were able to do, now smaller and medium-sized companies can do with a lot of marketing automation technologies.
Can you talk about the challenges that are involved with making data-driven marketing work for retailers?
Yeah, I think that the challenges are definitely, so it's kind of a new craft, I would say. So finding talent in that space is it's not the easiest thing, right? You get more and more people like that, but it's not the easiest thing. This is one challenge. Another challenge is, to get this DNA of a business who can be, or a marketing department that can be, this combination of a marketing hipster and a data geek. Because this world, everybody talks about the combination of art and science, which is what is required today in this modern world of marketing. So this combination of art and science is actually, it's quite a challenge to build it, as an internal department in your company with the right talent mix, acquiring the necessary technologies. That's essentially the challenge. But it's getting easier and easier. I think there's more and more talent out there. There's more and more technologies that make it easier. So, but that's the biggest challenge in my opinion.
Okay, and we'll wrap up with this one. Can you talk about the different stages of marketing automation maturity for B2C retailers?
Yeah, so you have, I would say the different stages is obviously you have the people that do nothing, which unfortunately there's still many companies that actually still do, the batch and blast, very generic messages, one size fits them all. You still see a lot of them. Then you have I would say the people who use very, very basic marketing automation. They may have a few segments in place, so they're gonna manage, let's say 3 types of main communications to 3 main segments. They're gonna have maybe a welcome communication series, a win-back series. They're gonna have a few like flows and flows of communication, or a few customer journeys, if you will. And then you have the people who are even more advanced than that. They're gonna have 10, 15 segments. They're gonna do quite a few journeys. I would say they will be like in the mid like medium sophisticated. And then you have like the retention rock stars, and these are people that are doing dozens or even hundreds of segments, which are based on events in real time, or based on personas and clusters, which are predictive. They're going to be doing communications in multiple channels, and they're going to orchestrate all these channels to work together, and they can actually scale their marketing operation activities. So as time goes by, they always become more sophisticated, smarter about their customers. They can always surprise and delight the customers with new ideas and new types of experiences. So this is like the top levels. I would say there's mainly 4 levels of 4 stages of marketing automation maturity.
Okay, great. Well, I think we've gotten some great insights today. I want to on marketing automation and how it can be leveraged as a customer retention tool for retailers. I want to take this opportunity to thank Pini Yakuel, who again is the co-founder and CEO of Optimove, for his time. Thanks, Pini.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Have a good day.